Have you ever seen someone's verbal abuse backfire so completely that they went from demanding a manager to being permanently banned by that same manager? Because that's exactly what happened when Karen screamed at a hard-working hotel employee over room service that arrived 7 minutes late. And what the manager did next became the most satisfying moment of justice I've witnessed in my 15 years working in hospitality. Let me take you to the Grand Heritage Hotel on a busy Thursday afternoon in October, where Maria Santos was on hour 9 of a double shift because her co-worker's kid got sick and she'd volunteered to cover because she needed the overtime. Maria's one of those employees who arrives 15 minutes early, stays late without complaint, and treats every guest with genuine warmth even when her feet are killing her and she hasn't eaten since breakfast because there's no time when you're handling 20 rooms on the premium floor. I'm Robert, a consultant who stays at this hotel twice a month, and I'd gotten to know Maria over the past year through those small interactions that reveal someone's character. How she always remembered I preferred extra towels. How she'd check on my elderly mother when she traveled with me. How she'd quietly fixed a billing error that wasn't even her department because she knew it would save me hassle. That afternoon, I was working in the lobby lounge with my laptop when I heard it. That particular pitch of voice that immediately makes everyone in the vicinity tense up. The sound of someone about to make another human being's day absolutely miserable. "This is unacceptable!" The voice shrieked, and I looked up to see a woman in an emerald green silk blouse storming across the marble lobby toward Maria, who was pushing a room service cart and clearly returning from a delivery, her face showing that exhausted patient service workers develop as armor against entitled guests. The woman, I'd later learn her name was Deborah Westfield, but let's be honest, she was a textbook Karen in every way that matters, was pointing an accusatory finger at Maria like she was identifying a criminal, her multiple gold chains jangling with every aggressive gesture, her face already red with the kind of rage that seems wildly disproportionate to whatever actually happened. "You!" Karen shouted, her voice echoing off the marble and making other guests stop mid-conversation to watch. "You are the most incompetent, lazy, worthless excuse for an employee I have ever encountered. Do you have any idea who I am?" Maria stopped the cart, took a visible breath, and responded with a professionalism that honestly impressed me given the attack. "Ma'am, I apologize if there was an issue with your service. Can you tell me what happened so I can help fix it?" But Karen wasn't interested in solutions. She was interested in humiliation, and she launched into a tirade that made my blood boil. "Your little minimum wage brain can't comprehend what happened. I ordered room service at 2:15, and it arrived at 2:22. Do you understand numbers, or is that too complex for someone like you? Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to Rayan Review 2.0 for more real emotional HOA stories." Maria's face showed the smallest flicker of hurt before she professionally explained that room service typically takes 15 to 20 minutes, that 7 minutes was actually quite fast, and that she personally hadn't taken that order but would be happy to speak with the kitchen if there was a problem with the food quality. "I don't want to hear your excuses!" Karen shrieked, stepping closer in that invasive way meant to intimidate. The food was cold. The presentation was sloppy, and frankly, people like you shouldn't be working in an establishment like this. You probably can't even afford to stay here as a guest. So how could you possibly understand the standards we expect? The racist undertones weren't even subtle. The emphasis on people like you, the assumption about affordability, the deliberate degradation. And I saw Maria's hands grip the cart handle tighter, her jaw set, but she maintained her composure in a way that showed incredible strength. Other guests were watching now, some uncomfortable, some angry on Maria's behalf, and I started recording on my phone because I had a feeling this was going to escalate and Maria would need evidence. Karen continued her assault, getting louder and more personal. "Look at you. You can barely speak English properly, you're probably here illegally taking jobs from real Americans, and you have the audacity to give me attitude when I'm a Platinum Rewards member who spends thousands at this hotel." Now I'd heard Maria speak. Her English was perfect. Slightly accented, sure, but more articulate than half the native speakers I work with. And the xenophobic attack was so blatant that an elderly woman sitting nearby actually gasped and said, "That's enough." But Karen whirled on her too. "Mind your own business. This doesn't concern you." Then she turned back to Maria and delivered what she clearly thought was her winning blow. "I want you fired. Do you hear me? I'm going to speak to your manager and make sure you never work in hospitality again. You lazy, incompetent immigrant. You should be grateful you're even allowed to work here." Maria's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. Instead, saying quietly but firmly, "Ma'am, I understand you're upset, but I will not tolerate being spoken to this way. I'm happy to get my manager to address your concerns about the room service, but the personal attacks need to stop." And that's when Karen made her fatal mistake. She reached out and shoved Maria's shoulder. Not hard enough to really hurt, but definitely physical contact. And hissed, "Don't you dare tell me what I need to do. You're here to serve me. So get your manager now before I have you arrested for insubordination." I immediately stepped in, not aggressively but clearly, positioned myself between them and said, "Ma'am, you just committed assault. I recorded it, and you need to step back from this employee immediately." Karen's face went through several expressions. Shock that someone was interfering, rage that she was being challenged, then calculation as she switched tactics, suddenly clutching her chest and taking on a victim voice. "Did you see that? She threatened me. This employee has been harassing me since I checked in, following me around, making me feel unsafe. I have anxiety, and this is discrimination against my disability." The performance was almost impressive in its audacity. The complete 180-degree flip from aggressor to victim. But there were too many witnesses, and thankfully, the hotel manager had been alerted by the front desk staff. If you're feeling this story, hit that like button and share this video to support Rayan Review 2.0. James Richardson emerged from the corridor behind the front desk, and I knew immediately he was the manager from the way he carried himself. Calm authority mixed with genuine concern. The bearing of someone who takes his responsibility seriously. He approached with purposeful strides, his eyes already assessing the situation, and asked in a measured voice, "I'm James Richardson, the hotel manager. Can someone tell me what's happening here?" Karen immediately latched onto him like a lifeline, turning on the tears and the victim voice. "Thank God someone with authority is finally here. This employee," she pointed at Maria with theatrical disgust, "has been absolutely horrible to me. She deliberately delayed my room service to spite me, brought me cold food, was incredibly rude when I politely asked about it, and then when I tried to give feedback, she threatened me and this man, pointing at me, conspired with her to attack me. I have medical conditions, I'm a platinum member, and I demand she be fired immediately, and I want a full refund for my entire stay plus compensation for this trauma." It was a masterclass in manipulation, hitting every buzzword designed to make management panic. Threats of medical issues, loyalty status, demands for compensation, accusations of conspiracy. But James didn't react the way she expected. Instead, he turned to Maria with genuine concern and asked, "Maria, are you all right? Please tell me your version of what happened." And that simple act, asking the employee's side first, showing concern for her well-being before addressing the guest's demands, shifted something in the energy. Maria, voice shaking slightly but clear, explained, "I was returning from a delivery when Ms. Westfield approached me upset about a room service order I didn't personally deliver. She began yelling at me in the lobby, made several personal attacks, including comments about my language and immigration status, told me I shouldn't be working here, and then pushed my shoulder when I asked her to stop the personal attacks and offered to get a manager." James's expression hardened, and he turned to the gathered witnesses. "Did anyone else see what happened here?" At least 5 people confirmed Maria's account. The elderly woman spoke up about the racist comments, and I showed him my phone. I have the last 2 minutes recorded, including the physical contact. James watched the video, his jaw tightening with each passing second, and I could see the moment he made his decision. He straightened up, looked directly at Karen, and said with quiet authority, "Ms. Westfield, I'm going to need you to come to my office. Maria, please take a break and meet me in my office in 15 minutes after you've had a chance to compose yourself." Karen's face lit up with vindictive satisfaction, clearly believing she'd won and Maria was about to be fired. And she followed James with this smug swagger that made me want to applaud what I suspected was about to happen. 15 minutes later, I was still in the lobby when I saw Karen storm out of the manager's office, her face purple with rage, followed by hotel security, and I knew something beautiful had occurred. Want to hear more life-changing HOA tales every week? Subscribe to Rayan Review 2. Oh, and never miss the next twist. Maria emerged a few minutes after, her eyes red from crying, but with something like relief and vindication on her face, and she came over to thank me for the video and for speaking up. "What happened?" I asked, and she explained with a growing smile that James had completely supported her, had reviewed the lobby security footage and my video, and had told Karen in no uncertain terms that her behavior was unacceptable and abusive. Apparently, James had explained to Karen that the Grand Heritage Hotel's policy was crystal clear. "We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone who verbally or physically abuses our staff, regardless of membership status or how much money they spend, because our employees' dignity is not for sale." Karen had gone ballistic, threatened lawsuits, demanded corporate's number, claimed she'd ruined the hotel's reputation online, insisted her husband was a lawyer, and would have everyone fired. The full Karen meltdown playbook. But James didn't budge. Instead, he'd presented her with documentation of the incident, including timestamps from security footage, witness statements, my video showing the assault, and a formal trespass notice banning her from all properties in the hotel chain. "She tried to claim I attacked her," Maria said with disbelief still in her voice. "But Mr. Richardson pulled up footage from the hallway camera that showed me delivering her room service. I knocked, waited patiently. She opened the door already. Angry, grabbed the cart from me so roughly that the coffee sloshed, then slammed the door in my face without signing. And I just stood there confused before walking away. The food was perfectly hot when I delivered it, and I was nothing but professional." The picture became clearer. Karen had been looking for a reason to abuse someone, had probably let the food sit to get cold on purpose, then hunted Maria. Down for a public humiliation, expecting the hotel to side with the paying guest over the expendable employee. But she'd miscalculated, hadn't counted on a manager who actually valued his staff, hadn't expected witnesses to stand up, hadn't anticipated being recorded. James came out to check on Maria, and I introduced myself properly, thanked him for handling it the right way, and he said something that really stuck with me. "I've been in this industry for 23 years, started as a bellhop myself, and I learned early that you can teach someone hotel procedures, but you can't teach them human decency. Maria has decency in spades, and I will always protect employees who treat people with respect, because that's the actual standard that matters, not how much someone pays for a room." He explained that Karen had been escorted to her room under security supervision to pack her belongings, had been given exactly 30 minutes to vacate the premises, and had been informed that if she set foot on hotel property again, she'd be arrested for trespassing. "But she's a platinum member," I said, half joking, and James smiled. "She was a platinum member. Her status has been revoked chain-wide. Her complaints have been flagged as abusive rather than legitimate customer feedback, and every hotel in our network now has her name and photo in the system as persona non grata." The poetic justice was beautiful, but what happened next made it even better. James called an all-staff meeting that evening. I heard about it from Maria later, where he addressed the entire team about the incident, used it as a teaching moment about the hotel's zero-tolerance policy for guest abuse, and publicly commended Maria for maintaining professionalism under attack. He announced that the hotel was implementing additional anti-abuse training for all staff on how to report and handle situations like this, was creating a direct hotline to management for immediate intervention, and was adding language to all booking confirmations explicitly stating that abusive behavior toward staff would result in immediate removal without refund. But here's my favorite part. 3 days later, Karen tried to blast the hotel on social media, posting a long rant about how she was discriminated against for giving feedback, how she was assaulted by staff and wrongfully banned, and how everyone should boycott this horrible establishment that treats loyal customers like criminals. She even tried to start a hashtag campaign. It spectacularly backfired. Multiple witnesses from the lobby, including me, posted our accounts in the comments with timestamps and details. I shared a carefully edited version of my video showing her verbal abuse and the push while protecting Maria's privacy, and the hotel's corporate social media team released a professional statement. We stand by our decision to protect our employee from verbal and physical abuse. No amount of money spent gives anyone the right to degrade another human being. Our staff's dignity is not negotiable. The post got thousands of supportive responses, people sharing their own stories of service worker abuse, praising the hotel for taking a stand, and Karen's attempted cancellation turned into free positive publicity for the Grand Heritage as the hotel chain that actually protects its workers. Maria told me weeks later that she'd received handwritten thank you notes from co-workers who'd suffered similar abuse in silence, that employee morale had noticeably improved knowing management would back them up, and that she'd been given a commendation and a raise for how she handled the situation with such grace. She also shared that she'd been interviewed by a hospitality industry publication about the incident, had spoken at a workers' rights panel, and was being considered for a supervisor position because James recognized her leadership qualities. As for Karen, I heard through the hotel grapevine that she tried to check into a competitor hotel down the street using her husband's name, but the hospitality industry is smaller than people think and word travels fast. She was recognized and denied service there too, her reputation preceding her. The lesson here isn't just about instant karma, though watching an abuser face consequences is certainly satisfying. It's about the ripple effects when institutions actually prioritize human dignity over profit. James could have taken the easy route, could have given Karen a refund and a fake apology, could have quietly counseled Maria to have thicker skin and let it go, could have prioritized the revenue from a platinum member over the well-being of an hourly employee. But he chose differently, and that choice sent a message that service workers are human beings deserving of respect, that money doesn't buy the right to abuse people, that speaking up against injustice is worth the risk, and that sometimes the most powerful thing a person in authority can do is use that authority to protect those with less power. Maria still works at the Grand Heritage, still treats every guest with warmth and professionalism, but now she does it knowing she's truly valued and protected. Karen presumably learned nothing and is somewhere else making another service workers. Life miserable, but at least she can't do it at any hotel in this chain anymore. And me? I'm now a permanent guest at the Grand Heritage, specifically because of how they handled this. I go out of my way to stay there and recommend it to colleagues because I want to support businesses that do the right thing even when it's not the profitable thing. Thanks for watching Rayan Review 2.0, where every story teaches a lesson. Like, share, and subscribe for more emotional neighborhood dramas.